All right, so I finally managed to find the Labo VR kit. I say finally managed to find because I had to actually go to several different stores just to find this one in stock. I went to 3 different GameStops, a Walmart, and a Target. And finally I found it at a GameStop that was actually in a mall near me. And unfortunately, the Target, the Walmart, and the other 2 GameStops did not have them. Well, the other 2 GameStops did, but they were pre-ordered and they didn't have any extras, which makes me wonder if some retailers are a bit more conservative about ordering a ton of these after the other VR kits, because remember, Target was like fire selling those things at one point for like $20 or less. But I managed to find this one. This is the one that has the VR headset goggles, and then it also has the blaster in it. So I do have those 2 here, and I figure we'll put this guy together. I definitely want to get the goggles together, and maybe we'll do the blaster as well. But I really want to see what the VR effect is like with this, and kind of the building process of this part. I know this is going to use bands and all kinds of stuff, but certainly interested in the VR goggles. I also have the PlayStation VR headset to kind of compare weight and everything, just to see. This, of course, is set up a bit better for holding onto your head, whereas this, you have to hold it up to your face. So I figured we'd check weight and everything. This is going to give you a better experience, obviously. I think no one's really arguing that. I was just more curious about form factor and how, I guess, hard it is to hold on your head. Got this guy open here. It looks like we have our getting started. There's a bunch of cardboard in here, obviously. This is our standard game cart. Then we have our getting started, plug it in, check it out and everything. That's good. There's our actual VR goggles with the lenses and everything, so we'll check those out. Bunch of rubber bands, some grommets, rubber grommets that I assume are mostly used for that blaster piece or that blaster setup. And I have to put this into the Switch, which I'll do now, and then we'll see what the instructions tell us to do first. Like I said, I mostly just want to put the goggles together and try them out right away. Surprisingly, I didn't need an update for this. That's good. Restrict the use of VR mode to view 3D visuals for children 6 and under. VR mode is supported for players ages 7 and above. What's funny about this is it has like 3 different age ratings on the front. It has 6+ for building, 7+ for VR, and then E10+, I guess, for some of the games, which is funny. Yeah, use VR mode, obviously. Apply to all users on this console. And cool that there was no... Okay, I can change it there. Cool, there's no update or anything. I'm so used to having to hit any game that I get, even on the Switch or anything, and then have to update right away, so that's good. We're going to do make... And hopefully it's, oh man, I don't feel like building this. We built this last time. I don't know if they do this with every VR kit, but they always make you, or every Labo kit, I'm sorry. They always make you build the little thing that just holds your Joy-Con controller. I don't feel like building that again, but I guess we'll go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so there's our little Joy-Con holder thing. That's done. So it says on to the real thing. Now we can actually, hopefully, that's blasting off. So hopefully we can start building the VR headset now. You have to do that, I think, at every one. That's like their tutorial mission, I guess. Anyway, here we go. We can actually start building the VR goggles now. First piece. This is weird because they didn't have punch outs for this side. It was just it was a weird looking piece of cardboard. I guess that's all I need for now. And then we have to... We're going to start, I guess, by building... There's 4 parts to building the VR headset, apparently. So we have to build the safety goggles part on the front, the actual goggles, the back side parts and everything. I think there's 2 side parts, so... All right, let's go through this guy. So they just had me do a bunch of folding there, and then they warned me not to take this and put it in direct sunlight, or things might catch fire, apparently. But at this point, I can finally take these things out. I haven't even looked at these yet. These are the actual lenses that you're going to see through to see the image on the Switch's screen. And let's actually take a look, because usually it's kind of hard to see these lenses in a VR headset. You really have to try to either take it apart to see both sides, or you have to get a good look at it. They don't seem like, yeah, these seem like normal plastic lenses, yeah. So a lot of times, Oculus, of course, with their Oculus Go and stuff, tried to make these super clear, and that was a marketing term they had and everything. We'll see how well these work, especially with glasses. That's going to be a big thing too, is do they work all right with glasses? It seems like they at least do. My glasses aren't hitting the edge of the VR or anything. So if you want to wear glasses, it seems okay. They even have actually quite a bit of room in here for that. So that's good. That's good to see. Let's see how we actually put this together, because I've already folded up that part. I assume it's going to sit in there, and then we're going to move along pretty well. So here we go. So in order to attach these to the side here on the VR goggles, I guess just to make them a bit more sturdy, which it is, rather than just folding everything over and trying to make tabs and stuff out of this cardboard, they did have you use like these washers here, these plastic ones, and they snap in, and this is actually pretty solid. Like, this is actually not going anywhere, it seems, compared to if you folded it with just cardboard, so that's actually pretty cool. So this is actually pretty funny. Do you remember how when the Switch came out, a lot of people were talking about how it was like the dock was scratching their Switch and everything? They just had me install pads like all over this thing. This like these almost like these foam pads all over the place for I guess where your Switch is gonna go, and it says to help support and I guess basically not scratch the Switch. I thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, even Nintendo I guess thought of that too and said, yeah, maybe we should make them put foam all over this, although this is cardboard, which is softer than the plastic on the dock, and these are just little foam pads. So maybe Nintendo should sell us foam pads, I guess, to put on our dock, or just include that in the dock going forward. Something to think about. So at this point, they want me to actually try to put the Switch into this, just see how it all fits. And yeah, it fits fine. There we go. It is really funny though. Look, we got pads all over the place to support the Switch. That's kind of funny. It's almost like yeah, it supports it pretty well with the foam pad, so it can slide in a lot easier, and it's a snug fit. And I guess it also kind of protects it at the top and everything. It's kind of funny to see that. There we go. So we're good on that. And I think we're almost to the point where we're going to actually start looking through this. Okay, so now I think I did all the pieces. We got to put the whole thing together. So I actually have to take it back apart here to then put the nose and I believe the spot for where the Switch goes. So the VR goggles are done. It wants me to now make a safety piece for it. I guess it's for the top here. So we'll do that now, but so far, it's like a much more complicated, much more complex Google, or their, how Google had their cardboard that they had, their VR cardboard stuff. It's a bit more complex than that, but it's kind of the same idea where they use cheaper materials to build your own VR headset. So let's build the safety thing, and then I guess we'll actually try it out. So the idea, I think, of the safety cap is just to hold the Switch in place so it doesn't like slide out or anything. It's basically just a cardboard cap that you put over it and to keep that Switch in here, since there's technically not much stopping it from coming out, I guess. And at that point, it seems that you'd still be able to put the Joy-Con controllers in, I guess. But that's basically the idea of that, just to keep it, I think, from sliding around. Okay, so at this point, I'm ready to try this out. Try out VR, touch here to do VR mode. It appears to put it into this, yeah, so it does put it into two different eye points here as we assumed it would, obviously, because it's taking advantage of the two lenses in there. So let's go ahead and, yep, insert it in and look through. So here we go, we'll do this. It says to use the safety cap, but real quick, let me just have a quick look at this and see what we're dealing with here. Welcome to the world of VR. You can't see what's happening, obviously. That's the one drawback I'm realizing. And I think even if you captured it directly from the system, it would just still appear as just two eye holes, obviously, of what's happening. It wants me to use the Joy-Con, which means I probably have to connect it, or I have to... There we go. So I can at least hold it like this and play. And I see this little guy jumping around the box. First impressions of how it looks. It does not look as good as the PlayStation VR. Obviously, it's going to be a lower resolution. But I have to say, for it being 720p and what I initially thought it was going to look like, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look great, because you can still see the kind of the individual pixels. Like if I look straight down at the ground here, I can make out the individual pixels. However, I can pretty much do the same thing on the PlayStation VR. just not to this extent. It looks kind of screen doory. All right, we'll just be honest about it. It looks kind of like you're looking through a screen door, and that's, I think, only because you can see the amount of pixels in it. He's like way up in the air. I do notice you can look around fine. That's not an issue. It seems pretty quick to figure that out with the gyro in the actual Switch unit. If Breath of the Wild was in this and it looked similar to this, just a low resolution, I think they'd get away with it. Mario Odyssey might be better because it's going to be a higher frame rate, which this does appear to be a higher frame rate right now. Otherwise, it would probably be really bad. Try out the games too. Okay, yeah. I'm a little surprised. It looks so far better than I thought it would, which is a good thing. At that point, you have a little tap button up here, and that's how you kind of select, it seems. I would assume if you hold this, you'd get the same effect, right? And you press A, try out the other games. Give the VR goggles a tap, tap to exit. So up here it has like this button thing, and you tap that. That's basically, from what I can tell, if you're not holding that, that would basically be like if I'm using the Oculus Go, for example, it has a back button and controller and everything. That's just basically its back button there, I guess, if you don't want to hold this. I have a lot of mini games here. UFO Pilot, Car Battle, Animal, Zero Gravity. A lot of stuff you can do here. They're shooting. And then, of course, they also have the VR Garage where you can build stuff. You cannot share with it, though, which is weird. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try this thing out, see what we have, and I'll give some impressions on that. And I'll also build the blaster and give my impressions on that as well. My initial thoughts of the build process, it was 15 to 20 minutes of building, and that was me, of course, talking and everything as well at times and setting everything up here. I think if you did this with younger kids, maybe half an hour at the most. Also has little spots up here for the vents and everything. You can also still reach the plus and minus for volume, which I wonder how that would sound actually. Yeah, you know what? You can still hear everything pretty well. And I'm realizing in here they have a spot for like the sound to come out. I'll give you guys a close-up of the lens. I don't think you're gonna see much. Like if I'm like this far back and looking, I cannot see much of what's going on in there. I have to have it like right against my eyes, as you would expect. But it looks all right so far. I'll give you guys some impressions of it after I get a chance to play more of it, is my plan. But build process, not bad. Sean should be able to do this fine. So there you go. I could only get this kit. I didn't get the one with the bird and all the other stuff, which honestly, I didn't care as much about all of that stuff unless Pokemon Snap shows up for the camera, in which case I gotta go buy it. But I was more interested, obviously, in Mario and Breath of the Wild, and then just seeing how it all comes together. So I'll check this out. I'll build the blaster as well on the side, and then I'll do a video with my impressions and everything. What was interesting to me is, I think the PlayStation VR is heavier, which is very interesting if you think about it. Now, I don't have the Joy-Cons attached, obviously. If you attach Joy-Cons, it'd probably become a bit heavier at that point. Like that, because you're supposed to, of course, hold it and play like that, which is still weird. But it appears to be lighter than the PlayStation VR. I don't like this that much. I don't like that setup. It appears to be lighter, though. Yeah, so obviously there's a bit more technology in the head unit here. However, this is the entire system. That's like if we strap the PlayStation 4 to this thing as well. So that's kind of funny to think about, that the entire system's here and it still ends up being lighter than the PlayStation VR. So I'll check it out, guys. I'll do a follow-up video on my impressions overall of the VR and of the blaster and everything as well. We'll see what we have there. And then, of course, when Zelda Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey come out, I will do impressions of that as well. Very hard to show you guys gameplay of it, obviously. I think Nate, Direct Feed Games, is going to try to get direct capture footage of it in handheld mode, but I have to say, I don't think you're going to see much. It's going to be 2 circles on the screen. That's kind of about it. So you won't get the effect, really, I don't think. Although, I guess, see, that's the thing, you need the software. Otherwise, you could, of course, go buy like a head unit yourself and just use it. But Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey will have those things built in, so you could do it. But let me know what you guys think about this down below. The build process, not bad. I'll do the blaster and let you know how that one goes. Make sure you like the video, guys, if you liked it. Dislike if not. Make sure you subscribe as we go through the different Labo VR stuff and give my impressions and thoughts on those as well. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.